this. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you were looking for? Was everything you've compromised, everything you've done, worth it? Was it? You've completed your mission.
Paramount Plus.
Mine is just beginning.
Oh my god. What the fuck is going on with this show? I still have no idea who it's for. I know who it's not for. But I don't know what the current state of the galaxy is. And why does John insist on taking more and more of his clothes off? In my last review, I tried to remain neutral and objective to assess episodes 1 and 2 based on what the show and the Silver timeline had built up. But we're now 3 episodes into the season, and the world building is almost non-existent. Paramount wanted to do their own thing here, but have egregiously inserted references to lore and canon without any relevance or development. Oh, a coin that fans will know, but only if you follow the lore. The narrative is flimsy, the characters are hollow, and I cannot understand why CBS has greenlit this for a second season. They must hate money. So fuck that noise. Paramount don't seem to care what they're doing, so I'm just going to call it as I see it. The episode opens on generic sci-fi junk world, with generic sci-fi slaves being policed by generic sci-fi guards with visors on. Littered amongst the hopes for the Halo series, 2 children are reading a book from a planet far, far away where life is good. I'm not sure if this is a deliberate callback to the Starry Night trailer from Halo 3, but given that Paramount have so rampantly plagiarised key Halo tropes, just to justify the budget of this show, it's not really a stretch to imagine. Then this little creeper says that if you read the word kiss in a book, someone has to kiss you, and his victim falls for the ploy. Fortunately, the eyes of God are upon this little sinner, and he's struck down by a generic but holy sci-fi security guard. The guard then conveniently forgets about the eyes of God for a moment as he starts to torture the little lady. For some reason. Fortunately, 2 elites drop feet first into the hell that is this show and smite this sinner where he stands. One elite points his magic bullshit detector stick at the little lady and it lights up with a plot point saying that she's the one they're looking for. Cut to the present day. Wait, I have something really important that I want to talk about. Evidently, this little lady is the Covenant human female lady, but have a quick look at this. The opening of the generic junk world, there's this little thing here. Planet name but no date.
Places where we've had to sort of pull events closer together than they may be in the chronology, and that's actually a really good example where the context maybe will shift a little bit, but it should feel very Halo. Like at the end of the day, kind of the
context? Pull things together? You don't even know what fucking year it is because you haven't fucking established the Human Covenant War, which for the record broke out on Harvest in 2525. I know this, other Halo fans know this, but this show isn't made for them, remember?
Where it went, there's 17 novels. I obviously didn't read all 17 of them yet.
I'm sure you'll get around to it, champ. It's not like you're playing one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. Meanwhile, you've got colonists who are more worried about the UNSC, who are waging a war against the Covenant that they don't even know exists. This war is for the sake of humanity. Every human in the galaxy's fate depends on this war. How is it possible that the Outer Colony is still not aware of this? Clearly there is a galactic-wide news network.
What's up, Wastelanders? This is Three Dog Bow Wow, and you're listening to GNR. That's Galaxy News Radio, in case you forgot.
Surely an alien invasion on any planet would come up on that, right? Evidently, the UNSC would be pushing information to the outer systems to warn their fellow humans about the indomitable force of fuckery that's coming to kill them. Even if it was seen as propaganda in the first instance, like it is in the novels that the show has ignored, others would eventually learn about the UNSC and they'd realise that they're the enemy of their enemy when their neighbouring planets stopped checking in. And yet we're supposed to believe that half the humans in the galaxy are blissfully unaware of these aliens despite the galactic war that's being waged. For fuck's sake, Paramount, pull your head out of your ass and develop your Silver timeline that you so desperately wanted. Thus far, it's just Silver, and not because it's being a gentleman and finishing second, but because the timeline doesn't even exist. You can't tell a story in the film medium without a fleshed out world. Just try it. Sorry for the tangent, guys. It just seemed like a really obvious example of the fact that Paramount hasn't put any effort into their world building. Human Covenant female lady, now called Mackie. Evidently, this has been her name the whole time, but it's the first time it's been mentioned in the show, and you can almost miss it in the action that's happening in the background. She's putting on some clothes for her Covenant daddies. Is this suitably human? Like they would fucking know. And then Mercy's like, yes, just like when I first met you. You were so much smaller and tighter then. Then she dictates to the High Council of the Covenant that she's going to go find the Keystone and also kill the Master Chief while she's about it. Cut to Long John Silver. I can't believe I hadn't thought of that name before now. And he's realised how shitty show is and he's having a natural reaction to it. The show feeds some more fuel to the whole mum versus daughter plotline, with Miranda examining one of the magic bullshit devices, and without physically touching it or testing it, she determines it's organic, but not, and it predates humans and possibly even the Covenant. Really? Steering quite hard into that fiction of the science fiction, hey Paramount? MP Gosky says that she's setting up a parallel team to Dr. Halsey's in order to research this item, and Miranda will be the one to study the device. Family drama intensifies. Across to Dr. Halsey's lab and... Burn it! Send it to hell! Get it away. Sorry about that. And Halsey is talking to her Flash clone. We get a look into Dr. Halsey's character and the value she's assigned to her clone. And the show has another perfect opportunity to develop Halsey's character as to why she's become this way. Perhaps it's out of necessity due to losing a war to the Covenant. Perhaps there is some proper world building that's about to take place. Nope, turns out Halsey's a cold-hearted bitch. Why do we like her again? We learn that there are 35 active Spartans, or at least there were at the start of the program, and the clone bets that the Cortana system will be given to Long John Silver, because he's the special one. Yeah, he's fucking special, alright. Loses his rifle, loses his shit, goes AWOL, puts himself in unnecessary danger by removing protective equipment regularly, has PTSD, can't regulate his emotions, and is basically no better than your average soldier. I'd choose not Fred, personally, because he's displayed the most consistency when it comes to following orders. Irrelevant to which Spartan I'd rather be inside of. Long John Silver gets into his tidy-whities, and the show implores us to remember that this is Halo, not some carbon-copied generic sci-fi streaming show, with their use of very subtle background pieces. See that? They're Spartans. They're right there. Remember, this is Halo. Yep, Halo. Long John's upset that he's getting saddled with Cortana, and Halsey explains that it's the only way to get him back in the field and on the front line. There's more references to the front lines of the war where Long John is desperately needed. Please, show. Just fucking show us the war. It carries narrative weight and context that the show is desperately needing right now. We're 2.5 episodes in, which is the length of a motion picture. There's no excuse for not showing this. John is convinced by his mum and the procedure goes ahead. Then this little creeper tries to kiss the clone because he's in love with Halsey's brain. Okay. But then Halsey walks in and stops these unwanted advances. Is this meant to be a touching scene about the assistant feeling bad for what's about to happen to the clone? Because if so, they've really screwed the execution here. It's creepier than the library. Remember, kids, clones don't have rights and can't say no if they're dead. We get some Dead Space Igor because the clone needs to be awake to have her brain downloaded into Long John's. Wait, Cortana's going to exist in John's brain, not on her own? Why? I'm going to come back to this part. Creeper then disposes of the body so he's not tempted by necrophilia, and Halsey shoves Cortana right up Long John's occipital lobe. Then Cortana appears, voiced by the lovely Jen Taylor, and it melted a piece of my cold dead heart to hear her playing this part again. However, where is she being projected from? In the games and novels, there was an AI chip that was plugged into a pedestal or a computer. I don't see anything here. Cortana Battle Angel states that, statistically speaking, John is superior to all the other Spartans, including in his instincts. What? The same instinct that told him to drop his rifle, take his helmet off all the time, and risk everything for a teenage girl who doesn't know her ass from the holes the Covenant blew in her friends 2 episodes ago. Yeah, vastly superior instincts. Battle Angel then says that she doesn't have full control over the subject, and Halsey advises her that she's limited her access for now. You fucking what, mate? Cortana Battle Angel will have the ability to fucking use Long John as a marionette at will? Wasn't the whole point of the AI Mjolnir project to enhance the Spartans' innate abilities? They're already physically perfect, trained from the age of 4 to peak combat effectiveness. Cortana was just the last piece of the puzzle. She was there to assist with real-time updates, combat situational awareness, cyber and electronic warfare problem solving, and assist with navigation and problem solving that was outside the physical scope of the Spartan. What the fuck is this Batwoman bullshit? Is it not enough that Dr. Halsey's already the mother of the Spartans, including multiple female Spartans? Now a woman needs to be able to control John completely? Fuck right off! What is this, a fucking social commentary on how men shouldn't be soldiers? Why the fuck would they pick John if Cortana is just going to assume direct control? Any other Spartan would have done the job. As the show's proved, thus far the only Spartan causing any problems is John. The logical choice would be to retire Spartan 117 and enhance one of the less problematic Spartans. It's almost like the show has manufactured a reason to have Cortana keep John in line for the sake of drama at the expense of researching the actual Mignola project itself. Halsey then explains that Battle Angel hasn't been granted any control of Long John because they need to see how his body interacts with the magic bullshit device. Cut to Panda Bait/Deadweight, and she's upset that she's still stuck on the rubble and can't go take revenge on the man who's taken control of Madrigal after her father's death. She asks Soren if he can give her a ship, and he politely tells her to fuck off. She then calls him an asshole, which I guess is meant to be endearing, and Soren says that because he likes John, he's not going to crush her skull.
Do it! Do it!
This subplot is so stupid. The Covenant killed her father, but she's mad at the dude from Game of Thrones because the UNSC put him in charge of Madrigal. Bitch, you're at war with aliens. Soren's missus literally explained that the Covenant destroyed her entire planet, and you want to go back to your planet, start a civil war when the Covenant know where your planet is and could come back at any moment and turn it to glass? Dr. Halsey then introduces Long John to Cortana Battle Angel, and he acts like a snide teenager meeting his stepsister for the first time.
What are you doing, step bro?
There's some more interpersonal drama with John refusing to call Battle Angel a her, and then Halsey reassures both the audience and John that he is the best, despite all the evidence to the contrary. The scene ends with John being grumpy and us feeling like we've just watched a high school drama. Cut to the UNSC Gladius, fucking awesome name by the way, which comes across the path of a Covenant Corvette that's exited slip space with powered down everything. How terribly convenient this is. The captain of the vessel decides he wants a quick kill, so he brings the ship around to engage. It's a good thing that Silver Timeline hasn't explored how vastly superior the Covenant warships are compared to the UNSC, and how this engagement would be absolute suicide if that Corvette's power came back online. The captain of the ship receives a hail from the Corvette and decides it's clearly not a trap. They bring the human Covenant female aboard, and for some reason the commander is leading the reception. Should you not be in the CIC or on the bridge in case another Covenant vessel turns up? They traditionally travel in fleets or task groups. Don't be dumb, show. Nope, he needs to be there for the Golo attack and to be overpowered by Mackie, who I'm now going to call Dildo Lord. Dildo Lord sweeps through the ship with her worms and then makes a reference to how disgusting humanity is before killing all the crew with her worms and stabbing the captain with a plasma nail. You go, girl. Geez, first year liberal arts students studying Feminism 101 are going to have an absolute ball or two with the symbolism in this scene. For the sake of consistency, I tweaked the order of these scenes happening because Paramount can't seem to fucking do it themselves. Before Dildo Lord boards the Gladius, we have a scene where John touches the magic bullshit device. Halsey, Battle Angel and Creeper try to examine him while Battle Angel takes control of his body. Turns out the object doesn't react with Battle Angel in control of John, so I guess we won't be doing that anytime soon. So why did they bring it up in the first place? Long John then strolls down with Big Dick Energy to be reunited with Not Blue Team. Battle Angel attempts to introduce herself to Not Blue Team, and there's some awkward back and forth between her and John that I think's meant to be humour, but comes off as awkward teenage writing. John then leaves, and Not Linda gives the audience a good look at her Spartan booty. Or something else happened. I don't know. I get very distracted when she's on screen. Back to Panda Bait/Deadweight, and she's still upset that she can't go to Madrigal to wage civil war. And then Soren's missus talks about how looking into deep space is like looking into the past, and she's all about the present. Geez, it's not jarring at all jumping back to this character that I'm sure everybody cares about and has an important part to play in the story. Long John then learns Battle Angel can help him clean up his internet search history, and he tries to find the planet from his visions. There's some exposition about him fighting on several planets where he lost a fellow Spartan. Fuck me, what is the point of having a visual medium if you don't show any of this shit? This is, again, a perfect opportunity for some action-driven world and character building. By way of flashback, I know they're cheap, but in this instance, I wouldn't even care. Anyway, Long John tells Battle Angel that he can't feel his old memories, but he can feel the memories that are coming from the object. Halsey then agrees to let Battle Angel help Long John perform some home surgery to remove his emotional regulator. Battle Angel then assists Long John with the process.
A little lower. 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 A lot lower. Too low. Lower.
Then Long John is free to feel things. Also, not Linda is a little bit of a creeper too. Naughty girl. Seriously, did some horny teenager write this episode? What's going on? Long John Silver then goes and gets high on life. No, I'm not kidding. It's like a 5-minute montage. He then decides he needs to feel even more, and then he goes and molests the Keystone, only to discover that he and his father likely buried one in their backyard when he was a child. Well, how terribly lucky again. If he wasn't the luckiest Spartan in canon before, he sure is now. And he decides he's going to go to Erythnus 2 to find it. Halsey finds out what Long John is up to, and despite him still being grounded from the last round of being AWOL, she decides that she'll go with him. No stake in this by the UNSC or Spec Warcom, who only agreed to let Long John out if he agreed to get Battle Angel shoved up his brain so that he could go back to fighting a war that the show keeps conveniently forgetting if it's not relevant to their current story. No? Okay. Panda Bait tries to steal Soren's favourite ship, and she's like, "You can't stop me going back to Madrigal." And he's like, "I'll kill you, that'll stop you."
Come on! Do it now! Kill me!
Panda Bait's plot armor once again carries her away from danger as Soren decides he wants rid of her, and someone on Madrigal, either the Game of Thrones governor or her rebel friends, will pay for her. I'd be fact-checking that, mate. Aren't you the one that's meant to have trust issues? Then Dildo Lord, despite having been away from human technology since she was a child, rips apart the Gladius's computers looking for answers. Fortunately, she's either really incompetent or the crew scuttled all the data, so she doesn't find anything. Good thing it's not her plan to go to Madrigal, or that might put her on a convenient path of intersect with Deadweight and Soren. Oh, God. Super Nerd then comes down to the CIC on Reach to analyse the Gladius's last transmission, taking time away from being an expert in all alien technology to feed the fuel of family drama with her mother. Not Johnson then tells her that her mother slipped away on an adventure with Long John Silver, and now's the perfect time to take a look at that device. Stop enabling her, Not Johnson, you're being a bad father. The show ends with each group heading off to their predetermined planets, with undoubtedly run into more plot conveniences that will further this story. Time to nitpick. I keep banging on about this, guys, because it's important. One, because it would be awesome to see the Human Covenant War, but two, it adds stakes and complexity and an understanding of the world that we're in at the moment. Right now, we don't know what's going on. Right now, we haven't been told what the state of the galaxy is in reference to the Human Covenant War, which is the backbone of the early story of Halo. There's all this focus on family drama and political intrigue, which is eating up screen time. But we only care about that if we know it's about to be snuffed out at any moment by the brutal armada that the Covenant undoubtedly have, loitering with intent at high charity. Show us where the front lines are, show us what humanity is losing, give us a reason to care about these people. The show has a real problem, ironically enough, with telling and not showing things, and this is really evident when it comes to John. Everyone's talking about how he's meant to be the greatest soldier in the galaxy, he's the best, all the statistics say this, but he's proven through his own actions that he's a little bit incompetent actually, and a rather bad soldier who makes poor decisions. Why on earth would you select him for the Cortana project? In the lore, John is no different from the other Spartans. He may be a bit stronger, and he proves that in his actions when he plays King of the Hill as a young man, but after augmentation, he and Fred are very, very similar. The only thing that sets him apart is his luck, which is identified by Cortana and not Halsey, because Cortana is the manifestation of Dr. Halsey's cold logic, and she can see patterns better than the humans can. In this show, John is chosen because he is chosen, because we are told he is the best, and Halsey is in fact the one who chooses him, not Cortana. Being the one Spartan chosen by Cortana is not only important to John's and Cortana's relationship, but is important to their relationship with Halsey as well. This becomes clear the longer the story progresses, to the point where Dr. Halsey admits that she knew John was special, but she couldn't figure out why. So the show avoiding this from the outset is a little bit bizarre to me. What we have in place of it is some awkward teenage banter between the two. John is meant to be a professional soldier, not an awkward teenager. You can't just chop and change him when it suits the script. On the note of Cortana in Chief, it's fantastic having Jen Taylor back. I think she's a fantastic voice actress and she gives me the jigglies every time. But having her and not Steve Downes is really quite jarring to a fan like myself, and I'm sure many others who have grown up with these two voices. There's no reason we couldn't have Steve Downes' voice when John was inside his helmet, and Pablo Schreiber's when he takes the helmet off. I'm sure it wouldn't be that jarring. Although it would probably give fans more of a reason to scream every time he took his bloody helmet off. Stop taking your helmet off. The whole glossing over of the Mignola project just highlights to me that the writers at Paramount either didn't care about what they were doing or didn't look hard enough into the canon. The The Mjolnir project is very much an important part of Cortana and Master Chief's relationship. It's their first real test as a partnership, and it's highlighted by the fact that Colonel Atkinson tries to stack the odds in his favour so that the Spartan project will fail, but Cortana finds a way to make the impossible possible, and Chief succeeds. That's what Cortana gives Chief. She gives him that amplified luck that only she could identify. But in the show, she's been picked for John because he's the best ever, so everyone keeps saying, even though we've got all this evidence to the contrary. I know I keep coming back to this point as well, guys, but the Covenant. This episode finally had a reference to the elites being leaders, and that's fantastic, but it needs to be more than that. Imagine having the Covenant at your disposal as the antagonist of your franchise, and then choosing to use them as a conduit for female empowerment through this character. And I don't care how many articles there are praising that this was a good idea, it's not. You've wasted an opportunity to develop the Covenant into something striking, new, and ultimately fantastic to watch on a visual medium. The pacing and editing of this show is all over the place. We literally had a 5-minute montage of John walking around being fascinated by pretty lights and music at the expense of world building.
It's starting to even look like a triple rainbow. Oh my god, it's full on double rainbow all the way across the sky.
This is not what people who know what Halo is are expecting from this show. And you can say that it's not for the original fans all you like. The point of the matter is it's still Halo. I'm getting really sick of reading the argument that you need to think of this as not Halo to enjoy the show. If that is the case, call it something else. Generic Sci-Fi Episode 5 and move on. Stop blemishing the name of Halo because you're too lazy to build your own world, Paramount. Saying that you enjoy the show because you just identify it as not Halo, even though the name of the show is Halo, is ridiculous. It's a non-argument. Stop using it in defense. You know what that says about you? It says that you're not a fan. You're a casual or fringe fan, and that's fine. Hardcore Halo fans have been waiting nearly 20 years for this. Do not tell hardcore Halo fans that they can't enjoy their own franchise. It's ridiculous. I seem to have descended into a rant about all the things I hate about the show. So here's something I like. It's an absolute meme goldmine. But remember, I'm just a brainless lump who's watching this show so you don't have to. Hooroo!